Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer. This is their part number LB1002-400-H-606. Here it is. Very nice looking piece of solid brass hardware that we're seeing here. This would be considered a full surface. It's a lavatory hinge. It's not a typical full surface hinge because of that elegant, graceful swag that they've done here on the hinge leaves. Okay, this is used in surface mount applications, to be sure. This would be very typically used in a lavatory application. And it's a hold open because what happens is the way that this hinge has been constructed, when you apply tension to it, the leaf is going to naturally sit like that. The door is in here. Okay, so it's hold open. When you occupy the lavatory, you'll push that door closed and then latch it. When you unlatch it, that door is going to swing back open. Okay, and we're going to get to the installation instructions and show that to you. So this is an LB1002. It's a lube bearing hinge, which means it's a 3-knuckle hinge, and their single-acting spring hinges are all LB or lube bearing, a maintenance-free construction type of construction from Bommer. The 1002 specifically refers to this type of hinge. The overall design of the hinge is the 1002. The 400 in the part number means it's a 4-inch tall hinge, and that it would be 4-inch wide as well. Okay, so 400 means 4x4 is what it means. The height is the first dimension. The width is the second dimension. Not that it really applies to this application, but when it comes to hinges in general, the height and then width absolutely apply. The H means it's hold open. This has been put together in such a way where when the door is when the door is not latched, it's going to be held open, and I'll demonstrate that in a second. Normally, if you were going to do a full surface hinge that you wanted it to open and then the door close, it would be a hinge like this, but you would need it to be basically a reverse action of this, so that when the hinge went this way, it would automatically close. We're going to touch on that function as well. 606, that means three things. It means it's made of solid brass. That's number one. Number two, that it is in a satin finish. That is a satin brass finish that you see. Number three, it has a clear lacquer on it. Okay. There you go. Okay, also, what else is included will be 2 mounting plates. These plates are meant to obviously go on the opposite side of where you're going to attach your screws. That's so that your partition, which is probably laminate over particle board, possibly, as you tighten those screws, you don't want to crush anything in. That particle board is very poor at dealing with forces perpendicular to it. So you could crack that material. You know, commercial restrooms are, you know, common areas of being vandalized and things of that nature. So these plates are there to help you mitigate that problem. Also in the package, you're going to get a total of 8 of these female portion of the binding posts with slotted one-way screws. Some people feel like that's not a security product. I assure you that it is. It is a lot easier said than done to be able to get that screw out with a slotted screwdriver. I've tried. It doesn't happen. At least I haven't been able to get it to happen. Diameter of the barrel on that, not that it matters, but here we go. 0.25 inch. Diameter here. Diameter of the head, 0.428. 0.428 diameter of the head. You're going to get a total of, for each of these threaded pieces of threaded rod, these might be 1224 or 10. They might be 1024. I'm going to go with 1024. You'll get 4 each of these. They're just simply different lengths, because they're not asking that you specify your door thickness. The shorter one is 0.629. 0.629. The longer one is 1.13 inch. the length of that post, 0.443. So 0.443. So 13/16 on just these two pieces. And then you're going to throw this, that's basically 1 1/8 inches. You're going to be able to get yourself installed onto things that are thicker than your standard partition. Finally, you're going to get, for every order that you'll place, you'll get at least 1 tension rod. For every hinge that you order, you'll get 1 tension pin, and that's how we're going to go about setting the tension. There are installation instructions included with the package. I don't believe I own a set of cheaters or reading glasses that would ever allow me to actually read that. I think I do, but they make you dizzy the second you put them on. Luckily, they're linked to down below, and we're going to go over the installation instructions of this. Actually, these installation instructions are different than the ones linked to down below. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, these are inherently different. And I have discovered the reason why. The ones that are there are for the standard LB1002 series. The ones that are included with the hardware is the H, the hold open version. That's inherently a different hinge. And by the time you're seeing this video, we will have the correct installation instructions listed there for the H version. They're different. They show you differently how to set that tension. So we're going to go through that now, and those are linked to down below. But what they want you to do simply is, your door is going to swing in. So this is the perspective from the inside of the partition. You'll notice your tension collar is pointed towards the top of the door. They want you to put the door in the open position, and they're really showing that installation instruction where the door is open to 180 degrees. That's pretty unusual in lavatory hardware. Maybe not in this lavatory that you're installing it in, but you're probably only going to 90 degree would be my guess. But they're showing this in this sort of fashion. Okay. So again, you're on the inside of the part of the toilet compartment. Door is now open. Okay, 90 degree. So what they want you to do is, when you are standing on the inside, okay, you are going to when you have that door open as far as it will go, you're going to access the tension collar from the backside. That tension rod is going to go into the first hole that you can see there, and you're going to turn it clockwise. And into one of those new holes is what you are going to insert the tension pin into. Now let's demonstrate that. So the tension rod goes in, you turn it clockwise, then you're going to install that tension pin into an available hole. Okay. I've got that tension pin seated all the way down. What I was struggling with earlier is that this tension collar is crossbored all the way through. I had the tension rod stuck in so far that it was preventing the tension pin from going in any further. And you want that to be as close to flush as possible with that. You don't want that projecting off any more than it needs to be. Just basically one hole of tension has allowed me to really get that door firmly, you can't really see it, but firmly in the open position. I take it any further, it's under some good spring tension. So that will definitely keep that door in the open position. So right now I've got it mounted. That would be closed 90 degree. If it can swing further, then there you go. Okay, and that's how we set tension on this. That is according to the installation instructions. Do not exceed 3 holes of tension. It does say that somewhere. If you're going to 180 degrees, I don't think you're going to need much more than 1 hole of tension on, well, probably 2 holes of tension would be my guess. I do want to take a closer look at, and I do have bigger glasses here, at the installation instructions to make sure we're not missing anything. So by the time you're seeing this video, this will be uploaded down below. Insert the tension lever in the right-hand hole in the adjustment, step 2 by the way, in the adjustment slot, and rotate clockwise, as shown in figure 3. Okay, figure 3 is at the top. Insert the tension pin loosely in the hole to the right of the tension lever. Release tension lever until tension pin contacts the right side of the adjustment slot. Remove tension lever and check door for opening force and amount of desired opening. If desired force, it cannot be achieved. If it's not closing, repeat the above process. Go one more step. Put the tension rod in clockwise, move the pin over, and set it to the right, further to the outside portion of the hinge. Drive tension pin in flush with the tube, and once you have a satisfactory condition set on the closing action. So that's how you'll set the tension. Very simple and straightforward on this. Now, okay, I think it's time to switch to the screen view and take a closer look at all of the supporting documentation. Okay, so this here is indeed the item that we are looking at. LB1002 in a 400 size in an H style in a satin brass finish for use on lavatory stall doors with adjustable spring tension. It's a hold open made of brass, non-handed, and it does have radiused corners. 2 back plates are furnished with each hinge. Through bolts and nuts per hinge, 4 of them. The replacement tension pin, the replacement tension rod is available, or you can buy them as a set. Okay, so I don't recall making this video. This has been, just by the look of it, probably at least 5 years ago, so I don't know what I'm blabbing on about there, but let's move on. Links down below this video. First, supporting documentation. Template. This is a technical drawing of the item itself. You can review that. Questions regarding the dimensional size of the hinge beyond what we've already addressed can be reviewed here. There's also a link to the installation instructions, which are here, and these are not the correct ones at this time. The correct ones are what I held up prior. We've gone over it. It shows you where to place the hinges. That is the same on both documents. By the time you're seeing this video, we'll have the proper document uploaded. There's also a link to the cut sheet. That's a single page coming out of the manufacturer's catalog that shows the LB1002 in both the standard and the H version. Brass base material. They're not saying much about it other than that. Clamp style version, a half-size clamp style version, then a more traditional style full surface spring hinge shown here. Okay. Very common. That LB1002, I recently saw those recently, a very, very major, like the most major theme park in the state of California. And there's also one in Florida. They opened up a recent new, very large attraction, the largest in the history of that park's expansion plans, has recently gone in full of these bomber hinges, full of them. So that's your cut sheet. There's also the product brochure. That is 5 pages showing all things lavatory hardware related from Bomber. I would certainly suggest that you review this, because if you're looking at this hinge, you might need other parts. And if you're looking at this hinge, you might want other parts because you're hoping for an architectural finish. The previous mentioned theme park, they went with all a particular base material and finish that suited their requirements. Shutter bar style bolts, rim bolts slide and rotating, occupancy indicators, pull handles, door stops with integrated hooks, coat hook. Okay, so we've got the stop and hook. We have the integrated clamp style stop with the keeper for the rim bolts mentioned here. Okay, and by the way, those occupancy indicators go right on the opposite side of these items. Without the clamp style, without the keeper. Other stops with a keeper, as you can see here. partition mounting brackets, double flange, single flange, L shape, and U shape, all cast brass, and then pilaster cover and shoes if you need to dress up the bottom of that partition material that you're building. This would be the way to go with that material. Okay. Now, there is a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page where you can review not only all of the Bommer products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog, which is also here. You click on that, it'll pull up the full product catalog. Very handy. That will allow you to review all things Bommer hardware related. And I would encourage you to review their product line. If you're familiar with Bommer, it is probably because of the 3029 double-acting spring hinge, a very common device, and countless other single and double-acting pieces of spring-loaded hanging hardware from Bommer. New York City is absolutely full of Bommer material. You walk into an old hotel there, you're probably going to see Bommer hinges. Just tremendous, the offering. Has been in business since 1876 by two brothers, Bommer. I've been to their manufacturing facility and their plating plant, and I can tell you that I left with a substantially realigned understanding of just how involved and difficult and trying process it is to make hinges. You think making doors are difficult? Make a hinge. Hinges are far more difficult. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, in conclusion, you'll want to install this with the tension collar pointed towards the top. You can install it like this if you want. Just don't turn the tension rod clockwise in that instance. Turn it counterclockwise. So tension collar should be up. Doesn't matter if it's left hand or right hand sort of door. Just isn't really going to matter at all. This is from, obviously, the interior look of what you're doing. If the doors were to swing outward, okay, this would be on the outside. I've seen those as well. Very large restroom area with one stall. You'll see those swing out as well. I have seen those. Backing plate, definitely use these. I would use them regardless of what I was installing it to. You could have a stainless covering over the particle board. No reason not to have that extra support when you're installing these hinges. A tremendous amount of force goes into not only making the door self-closing, but actually just carrying the load of the door itself. And every amount of additional surface area that you can gain is an advantage. The last thing I'd like to point out to you, the Bommer logo. Right above it, it says Made in USA. A fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I to represent them. Other manufacturers' logos will have the logo and then say USA on that. Does not mean they're made in the United States. So if that matters to you, it does to some, it doesn't to others. My opinion is irrelevant. Be mindful that made in the USA is not the same as USA. USA can be part of a logo and not a statement of a country of origin. Any questions on the Bommer? This is their part number LB1002-H-606 or any other Bommer product. Please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.